What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick and Tayler Kyles here for CLNS Media above the practice fields at Gillette Stadium after a rainy day 11 of training camp practice. A reminder, we are powered by Game Time and Prize Picks. Head over to Game Time, use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Head over to Prize Picks and use code CLNS for a $100% $100 deposit match bonus. Terms apply on both of those. So, Taylor, day 11, the last real practice before preseason game on Thursday against the Panthers. Let's talk about the quarterbacks. Let's talk about the offense in general. I thought Drake Maye had a really good practice early on, had a couple dimes in 7-on-7 to Kayshon Boutte and then Jaheim Bell, two sort of go routes on the right sideline where he just put it right in the breadbasket for both of them. But then kind of, petered off, trickled off a little bit during 11-on-11s. Not entirely his fault. I'll let you get into that and dive into that a little bit more. But what did you think of number 10's day today? Again, in that last practice before Thursday's preseason game.
Yeah, so gonna kind of rewind really quick. The first two padded practices that Drake Maye had, go back and watch it if you want. I was a little bit worried. I was kind of at the point where I figured, Jacoby Brissett is well ahead. I wasn't even sure I wanted to see Drake Maye getting reps with the starters because it kind of felt like the gap was so large. It was probably just better off to let Jacoby Brissett get chemistry with those guys and make sure everything was kind of in sync. But Jacoby has been solid. I think he's had, he's stacked some good days. Today wasn't really up to his standard, I will say. I kind of have him as stock down, really just because the standard has been pretty high for the veteran journeyman. But Drake Maye, stacking positive practices together, particularly in pads, even on their day off. I thought he really used that as a bounce back day after his initial struggles in pads. And now it's getting to the point where I really do want to see just how much more competitive he is with the top offense. Now, of course, that also comes with playing the top defense. Right. But I think that's a test I'd like to see from Drake, considering he really hasn't put the ball in harm's way. His turnovers, other than the rookie mistake where he threw the pick to Matt Judon, really they've come on, some throws that may have been inaccurate, but they've been ricochets. Really, they'll bounce off someone's hands. We had one today during that 1-minute drill where he tested a pretty tight window to Javon Baker, bounces up in the air, and then gets picked. But the play itself is not turnover worthy. It's more been the result. And I also thought that, like you mentioned, when they were down there 7-on-7s in the red zone, his accuracy and ball placement and poise in the red area continue to show up.
Those were ridiculous.
Yeah.
Throws. Like, unbelievable.
Especially impressive for a young guy. Yeah. And then during that 1-minute drill, you saw he's getting through his reads quickly. He's throwing accurately, especially to the outside where he was very inconsistent for the majority of the spring and the summer. I don't have a whole lot of issues with Drake Maye's ball placement the past few days, and there were some negative plays, but really I thought a lot of them didn't have to do with him. Like I mentioned, there was a play where it got intercepted because of a tip, but then you had a pass that was broken up where Juju was smothered in coverage. Yep. There was a botched snap. It was kind of tough to see whether it was on him or whether it was on Nick Leverett. And then there was a 4th and long play where he tried to just give Mitchell Wilcox a chance to make a play downfield, and it ended up getting broken up by Del Pettis. Good play by him, smothering coverage, but a play where Mitchell Wilcox just couldn't make a play for his quarterback. So I'm really gotten to the point where I'd like to see Drake Maye, maybe in the preseason even, get a drive or two with the top offense to see what he can get done, because I think the talent's starting to show through, and we're not seeing the major red flags that were coming up in those first two padded days.
Yeah, that's why I'm so excited for Thursday to see Drake Maye. Gerard Mayo, we spoke to him before practice, confirmed that Maye will play on Thursday night, saying that everyone, if they're healthy, is going to play.
And the Jacoby Brissett will start. That's the expectation.
Yeah, so all 4 quarterbacks likely to play, barring health, over the next couple days. It sounds like, again, all 4 of those guys have been healthy out there. So, yeah, he didn't get a lot of help, like you mentioned, in that 1-minute drill. Balls off Baker's hands, which we'll get to Baker in a second. So, again, it will be important to see him play with guys who he might actually end up playing with on Sundays here in Foxboro. So we'll keep an eye on Drake Maye on Thursday. Mentioned Javon Baker. Also mentioned the health and status of certain players dictating if they'll play on Thursday. Tyquan Thornton tells us after practice that he's dealing with a soft tissue injury. Once again, something that's sort of hampered by a soft tissue injury early on in his career. Pops up again, says he's managing it. Isn't participating much in 11-on-11s at all out here. He's here early and then sort of running off wind sprints to the side. And then Javon Baker, probably one of his, I hate saying worst days because, again, he was fine, but probably his low point so far during training camp. So what do you make of the receiver room so far heading into Thursday's game?
Yeah, so if you look at my report on CLNSmedia.com, you'll notice that 2 of my stock down guys are Jacoby Brissett and Javon Baker. 2 guys that I've been hyping up. I personally hold them to a bit of a higher standard, even understanding that Javon Baker is a rookie. Jacoby Brissett is a journeyman veteran who gives you a lot, but also, there are some reasons that he hasn't necessarily been a starter for one team for multiple seasons. So Jacoby Brissett I already touched on. But Javon Baker, one theme I'm not loving in the summer has been his failure to capitalize on some opportunities. Now, today there were a few plays where he could have made highlight grabs, and you see the athleticism where there was one throw where he fully extends with Christian Gonzalez tight in coverage. Jacoby Brissett was able to throw him open, but he couldn't keep his feet down on the boundary. High difficulty play, but it's becoming a theme where Javon Baker can do these things, but he isn't.
Right.
He also had a bad drop during that 1-minute drill from Drake Maye, and just continuing a theme of not always capitalizing, but also today we didn't see him make the plays that typically offset that, where there have been days where I say, yeah, you know, he had a drop, but he also had 2 crazy catches and maybe bailed his quarterbacks out, and you didn't see that balance today. So I do have Javon Baker as a guy who had his stock down, but a lot of that, once again, comes from the fact that I personally have high expectations. I've been hyping the guy up, and until he can be consistent, you know, we have to at some point acknowledge when, you know, it's been multiple days where, especially in team periods, he doesn't show up as much as you'd probably like.
Of course, Baker, along with counterpart, other rookie wide receiver Jalen Polk, 2 guys that I'm also obviously going to have my eyes on Thursday. Going to be nice to see them against different players in different uniforms, things like that with the Panthers in town. Finally, before we get you out of here, the offensive line, Sidy Sow. Importantly, someone who the left guard has been their left guard the entire training camp, has been out there every single practice, one of the first on the field. All of a sudden not taking reps in 11-on-11 periods. Michael Jordan taking his place at left guard today. And then Calvin Anderson returns but says that he was dealing with something the last couple days. Caden Wallace goes to the tent today, ends up coming back and participating for the remainder of practice. But man, 2 years in a row, this offensive line continues to be plagued with injuries basically every single day out here. A lot of rotations going on. Vidarian Lowe stays at left tackle again, but are you nervous about the offensive line not only heading into Thursday, but heading into the season in general with so many question marks?
So this is the second day in the entire offseason program that Sidy Sow has missed. He also was really under the radar. He missed 1 day in the spring, but I think that's before things got really intense, so it wasn't something that really popped up as significant. So I'm more wait and see with Sidy. It didn't look like anything was wrong. Like, he wasn't working with trainers. Nothing was taped up. I was looking to see if there was some indication of what might be wrong. He was just standing off to the side, and he didn't participate at all. It wasn't like he got demoted. So weird situation. We'll see what the development looks like there. Vidarian Lowe also notably was the left tackle for the starting offense for the 5th practice in a row. Caden Wallace only got 4 days, and he still doesn't look like a liability. Is he a game changer? Is he someone that you want to start? Maybe not, but now he's justifying my thought that he could stick on the roster, maybe not as a swing tackle, but as a legitimately solid backup left tackle. Calvin Anderson on the right side of the tackle spot for the offensive line.
It's all good.
Calvin Anderson, also the starting right tackle, once again, no longer had his left foot taped up. I thought that was significant. He said it wasn't anything major, while speaking to reporters after practice, said he's fine. Then that backup offensive line looked like Caden Wallace once again playing on both sides, while you had Kellen Diesch mixing in at left tackle, and on the right side you had Zuri Henry. And there were times where, once again, that offensive line with the backups did not look great. So that's really where, for me, the glaring hole has been, where just another reason I'd like to see Drake Maye get more quality reps with the starters, because he isn't able to really get through his progressions and get a feel a lot of the time, like we've seen for the most part with Jacoby Brissett. But yeah, the offensive line, I'd like to see a better health situation from those guys, because it feels like, once again, you're worried, are they losing bodies? Are we going to have to deal with a heavy rotation at all these different spots? Still very early. We haven't even played the first preseason game, so to be determined. Maybe they're keeping guys out just to preserve their health for the regular season, but something we're going to have to keep our eye on.
Yeah, another day as well. Chukwueze Okorafor not out here practicing. He's out here, no helmet, no pads, against a guy who goes from your starting left tackle to your starting right tackle, now missing a couple days. So again, we'll keep our eye on it. You're right. When does it sort of get to this is really glaring and a problem? We're going to have to see what happens, of course, through the first preseason game and kind of where the depth finds itself after that.
And also, Jake Andrews, just to touch on that, has officially been placed on injured reserve. His season is officially over. I believe he's going to be having surgery.
Yeah, on a meniscus tear.
Yeah, meniscus tear. That was it. Yeah, sorry, that was early in practice. A lot's happened since then. But Jake Andrews officially out this season. So Nick Leverett already projected this, but going to be the top backup on that offensive line, specifically on the interior.
Yep, for sure. That's going to do it for the offense report here on CLNS Media after day 11 of Patriots training camp. Keep it here with us here on Patriots Press Pass with all of your Patriots coverage heading into Thursday's preseason game. First, the Panthers, and read all of our written work as well over at clnsmedia.com.
Make sure to subscribe to Patriots Press Pass for all your Patriots news and updates on YouTube. And for all our written work, make sure you check out clnsmedia.com.